All right. So I just got back from vacation, had a really awesome time in Mexico for a week, and I'm a little tired, but I'm trying to teach you guys how to sell. So even when you're tired, you still got to be on your game and know your techniques and know how to sell. So I'm excited to go over this one. This is the art of upselling, how to get clients to take the extra step, which is so important. Upselling is, at least in my opinion, half of the business model. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of monthly memberships, but the upsells to me are the very high price ticket items. So anything that you wouldn't include in your membership, the services that are probably a little bit more expensive for a single session, and then a lot more expensive as a package. And that's the thing. So even though I don't, sell any packages for my memberships, I love, love, love to sell packages when I'm selling upsells because you make a lot of money quickly. And, you know, when you get results for clients with this, it feels really satisfying, especially when they're throwing out that kind of money and, they're kind of on the fence of if they should do it or not, which is normal. So I want to go over the techniques that I use and hopefully it can help you sell more upsells. So first off, just quickly, I was thinking about it and I realized that, the first visit to membership, a lot of times that is an upsell because so often, at least for me at Glossy Mountain View, clients weren't coming in for a membership. So even though this seminar is really about the high, price ticket items like Kassan and selling those things that are a little bit more costly than a standard monthly membership, that includes the, standard cryotherapy, whole body cryo, compression, LED light. This I still felt was important to go over really quickly. Someone's coming in, and the idea is if they weren't expecting to take that extra step, you're upselling them. They weren't necessarily there to, purchase a 5-pack of Kassan or get a monthly membership. They came in just to try your services or try a couple things. So this upsell on the first visit, a lot of times it was an upsell, meaning I had someone come in, they just wanted to try the services. They were on my website, were getting educated. They saw an offer that they really, really liked and said, hey, I can't pass up on that amazing offer. Let me go try it out. So they weren't coming in thinking membership. They were coming in thinking, I just want to try this, see what there is to this. I had to do my job. I had to make them feel comfortable. I had to make them, understand what these services do. I had to find out what they were, here for specifically, right? We don't want to just, say that our services do everything. So I really had to figure out, why is the client here? Bring down their guard and really quickly start building trust with them and use the psychology techniques that I have previously taught, about how you price your items and how you want to, group everything so that the membership always looks like the best deal. So it's kind of like the idea I wrote in here, for most people, you go into Target for maybe one or two things or nothing at all. And then next thing you know, you're leaving with $150 worth of supplies or products. That's the upsell. These people weren't coming in specifically for a membership, but you did such a good job of, taking them up that ladder that you did upsell them to a membership. And so the same psychology techniques, the same things that I do with this all apply to getting someone to go over to an upsell for Kassan or, an upsell service. But I just want to go over that real quickly. So I do believe the best way to sell upsell services, best way to sell Kassan, and I'm talking a lot about Kassan just because I consult with a lot of clients right now, and that is by far the most popular service that I hear my clients talking to me about. They're loving it. And so for the majority of this, it's just easy to stick with one upsell. I mean, obviously we all know there's tons of things that you can upsell. You don't have to upsell just one service. You can upsell 3 or 4 services that you may have as part of your business model. But in this one, just to keep things a little simple, I will keep going over Kassan a lot. But what I like to do is convert my monthly members over to upsells. I just think it's the easiest way to sell expensive upsell services. You have these members and hopefully you keep building it every month. meaning you're getting more and more members every month. And from that, you have a way bigger pool of potential upsell clients to choose from. Now, it's great if someone just walks in off the street or walks in from the health club or personal training studio you're in, or maybe they've been researching that upsell specifically. That's great. But the easiest way without spending tons of money is to just convert from what you already have. And so we did this so well in Glossy Mountain View. When we brought in our first upsell service, we were able to do $200,000 in our first year. And we weren't really spending any money on marketing. What we did, and I'll go over this in the seminar a lot, is we made sure that all of our members knew about our upsell service, that they, saw it, so they would ask us questions about it. And we had tons of members. So when we had 250 plus members when we brought this upsell service in, and a lot of these members were coming in, weekly, some even every day. And so the more they can see it, the more they get interested, the more they start asking questions. That's what we want, because over time, and I call this exposure over time, eventually most of these members are going to convert. They're going to find a deal that works for them. And because they've asked you questions, sometimes maybe it's just a week of questions, other times it's a month, sometimes it's 6 months of questions. But eventually you've answered all their questions and you've eventually earned their trust, and they're finally ready to go that extra mile and purchase a more expensive service, a 5-pack of it, a 10-pack of it. And that is what upselling is all about. So there is typically a nurturing process with upselling. Once again, it's not always a nurturing process. Sometimes you get the lucky day where someone walks in, or they were researching online, they call you and they're like, hey, want to buy a 5-pack of Casan right away. But that's more rare than when you have to do this nurturing process of making sure they know you have the service, educating them, doing free consultations, and going over and over until they're eventually ready to dive in. So we at Glossy Mountain View would put photos all over our business. First walk in, we had a whiteboard, before and after photos. I think before and after photos are the best thing that you can showcase. So if you have a client walking in, a member, and they're seeing these amazing Casan before and after photos, they're seeing the different ones, right? On the face, on the body for cryo slimming, for pain management, and they're seeing the before and after, or they're seeing what the client said as a testimonial, a short little paragraph of what they said about it. They're going to be interested. They're going to look into it, and hopefully they're going to start asking you questions. They probably want to, see what the machine or equipment looks like. So, we would take the client, walk them back to the equipment, not rushing them, just going over there saying, hey, this is what it does. I don't like to get too sciencey. If they ever have science questions, of course, we can go in depth about the science, but I try not to go there unless the client leads me into all the science questions. I try to sum up the science as simply as I can, and just make sure that I'm, going over all the focal points, but then really attentive and ready to answer any questions that they have. So the free consultation is very valuable. I think most companies are doing this. Are they doing it correctly? Some are, some aren't. I don't. Some people charge for the consultations. I think you offer a free one, it's so much better. A good consultation doesn't need to be 30 minutes to an hour. A good consultation can be 10 solid minutes in person, or today even over Zoom, but you're there with the equipment. Let them see it so they can kind of visualize what it would look like when they're actually doing it. And once again, keep everything simple. Let's not get too complex. As soon as you can find out specifically what they're looking for, what can the equipment do for them? Where's the value? Sure, it does lots of different things, but if we can kind of simplify it and just find out what they want, we can make this process so much easier. And eventually, like I said, you educate them, you showcase it, you give them the consultation, and you've done enough to earn their trust. Eventually, when you're running monthly specials, you're gonna find one that really, really, really resonates with them. And I say that meaning one client may love the buy a 5-pack, get 2 free, whereas the other client may like the save $300 on the package. two different types of deals that the clients like better. You don't know which is which, but if you're running different specials every single month, eventually you come across a special that resonates with that specific client. So this is the whole process. Like I said, it's 12 months out of the year. You sign up members, you get them the results that you told them you're going to get them. You don't overpromise. You got them exactly what they were looking for. You put photos around your space. You put the before and after. You make sure that they're always allowed to come and look at the equipment. They want a free consultation. You give them that and give them 10 minutes of attention, answering any questions they have. And you do that as a nurturing process over time. And hopefully, eventually, there's a point where they say, hey, I'm ready to do this. Earn my trust, answered all my questions. I did my own research at home. I think this is right for me. Let me go for it. Like I said, Kassan has been incredible. The words of my clients that I've been working with lately, they really enjoy it for all the different things it can do. And most importantly, nothing is ever more important than this, the results their clients get. So I've been pretty blown away by the results that the owners are saying they're getting by the equipment. That's always a really good sign. Like I said, it's so much easier to sell something when you use it, you love it, with your equipment. So really important. When owners say they love it, it makes it easier for them to sell it. So if you're going to sell upsell services, go try all the different upsell services that you can. IV drip, T-Shot, CryoScan, all those things, Kassan. Go try them yourselves. See what your results are, because then it's going to be so much easier for you and the employees. Let them try out a few so they can really experience what they get out of it and relate that to the clients. I went over this, but like I said, it's so critical to me. I just think the two things it really comes down to when it's high price upsell services is trust and exposure over time. And trust is usually, a process. You don't just trust someone right away. And I know that I said, you got to build trust the first time someone comes in to get them on the membership, but I did tell you that is more perceived trust, not real trust, meaning they think they trust you. They don't really know, but they think they can trust you. And then over time, they really do trust you. They trust you because you told them that whole body cryotherapy was going to help their knee pain. And after a couple of months or a couple of weeks, it did. You told them the truth. They got the results they were looking for. That's all the trust you need. Being friendly, giving good customer service, making sure that you're attentive to their needs, showing them a great time every single time. These are all things that build trust and friendship. And once you have trust, you can sell anything. But the exposure over time, like I said, the more that you're seeing this, even if it's someone that never thought they would do this upsell service, maybe it's someone you thought was never going to be a candidate for Kassan, or they just only want to come in really quickly and do whole body cryotherapy and leave. Well, eventually they keep seeing it, they keep asking questions, they keep doing their own research, and you've nailed everything that you were supposed to do. They're going to come in and say, hey, let's just go for this. And then you get them the results that you promised on the upsell, and they want to purchase the upsell again. And I think we were extremely successful in Mountain View with just that. We wouldn't just sell, a $1,500 upsell. We'd have the same person come back in a month or two, so happy with the results, they bought another one. That's $3,000 on top of the 4 or 5 or 3 months of membership. So the lifetime value of the client, really high. And that's what we really want to focus on in this business, is lifetime value. So, lifetime value, how long they remember, and purchasing an upsell. That's the lifetime value of a client. And the higher we can get that, the less clients we need, and the easier the business model is. So you gotta, like I said, build that trust and have that exposure there. So look at your current setup. And if you're an employee, you can help out your owners tremendously here. Is there enough photos of the upsell services in the business? And where are they located? So for us, second you walk in, you see them. Big whiteboard, can't miss it. But if you do, there's a few photos in the dressing rooms. If you miss those, okay, fine. Once you're in, the cryo room, there's another board. There's, you cannot miss it. And that's the kind of mentality I want you to have, is that wherever they're looking, it's not meant to be something where your business is ugly or it's too much, but it should be made where eventually if they're looking around, they have to be able to see this every time they walk into your business. And that's another point I should bring up. If it's not members, but they're clients that have purchased packages or they're coming a lot, same thing. Don't have to be a member, but they need to make sure that when these clients are coming in for services, that they see them. They see them because eventually the more they see them, they're going to start asking you questions. Even if the interest level was zero, even if it was something they never came in for, they will start to ask you questions the more they see these things. Especially if they see a client leave the room, they're going to say, oh, what was that client doing? Perfect time for you to be, oh, they were doing the croissant. They were doing it for this, but it also does that. And then hopefully, like I said, if you're always listening to your client, they will tell you a lot about what you need to know. And I think there's a lot of ways you can get really clever with this. If they're in your new Everest unit, right? They're in the Peak, they're in the Everest unit, and they're looking out. Can they see the upsell services or the specials from there? There's just a lot of ways to get clever about where you put these before and after photos, where you put the photos of the upsell services, the way the unit looks, the testimonials. You can be really creative with this. And a good way of really paying attention is, are people asking you questions? If they're not, get rid of where you put it and move it somewhere else. So for us, me and my sister, especially me, I would get really creative and give things about a month. And I would listen. Are people asking me questions about the things I'm upselling? And if they were, great. If they weren't, can I move these photos, all this stuff around to where they do start asking me questions? So I did a lot of, rearranging of the dressing rooms of where I put it, a lot of rearranging of my cryo room of where I put it. We kind of nailed it with the front room, the whiteboard. People always saw and asked questions, especially the before and after photos. So we didn't really have to, do much with the front room. We had it, right from the beginning. Sometimes you do that, sometimes you don't. But don't be afraid to experiment. Just make sure that you don't have overreactions too quickly. And this is something that I bring up with my membership generator. If you judge this off of 1 or 2 days, not enough time. Even a couple of weeks is not enough time to notice patterns. You have to really give these things almost a month to see what the numbers tell you. And not like you have to keep numbers down in your business for people asking you questions about your upsell services, but have your employees, or if you are an employee, just pay attention to, what are clients doing? Are they looking over there? Are they not walking by it every time? Do they look at it and right away ask you a question? Being perceptive of that will help you a lot, because it says, all right, we don't need to add any more photos or any more placements, or we need to add a lot more. We need to change them around. So always be aware of those type of things. First visit, membership, or repeat visits. Like I said, I may not have sold packages, but a lot of owners out there do. Either way, whether members or the repeat visitors, exposure over time, right? Make sure they are aware that you have these other upsell services at your business. Make sure they start asking questions. And eventually, you do that trust thing I teach you about, you will get that upsell. And that's why, I just love the membership, because I think you can take, 3%, 5%, maybe if you're really lucky, 7 to 10% every single month, and say that amount of my membership is going to purchase an upsell, whether that upsell is, $300, $500, $1,500 for a package. That's going to add up really quickly for the business and is incredibly important. And, that's another good point to bring up. How do I price it? Well, once again, numbers don't lie. So, if you're keeping calculations in the stats each month, you can see, how many am I selling of this package? If you're not selling any, what's going on? Are they don't know about it, or they do know about it, but the price is always a big issue. I do like to price these things higher first. I think, that's the whole point of upselling. We have, very affordable membership or packages, but please focus on the membership. And then we have the more expensive services that, you're not thinking clients are going to purchase every month, but you're thinking that members are going to purchase maybe once or twice a year. So yeah, build up that membership and, get to that point where the trust is there and they're ready to go for it. should go over this. Like I said, trust, right? What are the things, and I know I've gone over this a lot, but if something is so important, I'm probably going to go over it every single seminar that I do each month. Using logic, building friendship, good reviews, and good reviews on your website so people can see them. Good reviews inside your business so clients and members can see them. Showing research. If there's research, and like I said, I'm not, even though my background is science, maybe have a binder with research studies. There is going to be those certain people that do want to see the research, others that don't care, but for the people that do want to see it, you want to have it. Results. Nothing more important than results for trust. That's just the undeniable truth. Results are going to be the biggest factor in earning a client's trust at your wellness service business. Taking your time. If you rush this process, this nurturing thing, you rush the consultation, good luck getting that upsell. Take your time. I did not use a used car salesman approach. Neither did my sister. We, laid out the facts. We tried to use logic, tried to provide those results that were realistic, with tons of good reviews. We were always very honest about expectations. You want to hype. There's no doubt about it. You have to hype. And I see this a lot with Facebook marketers. Some of them have outrageous hyping, where I'm like, wow, that's too much. And I've probably been guilty in the past of hyping too much. My sister used to laugh about how much I would hype different things. I think I finally found a pretty good balance of it. But look at the way I sell my consulting services. Of course, I'm going to hype things. But being realistic and hyping is a really fine balance of, this is awesome, it works, it's incredible, I want you to participate, but also keep your expectations in line. There's no such thing as a fountain of youth. No, one thing cures all. It can really help you, but don't think that this is the only thing and you do it one time, it's going to solve all your problems. Critical that you try to find that balance and practice. Practice is great, because if you don't hype, very difficult to get people excited about something. Very difficult to get people excited about an upsell. I'm selling the Kassan. I'm trying to hype about all the amazing results my clients have gotten, how great the service is, how safe it is, how customizable it is. But I'm also trying to be really realistic of, I still think you really need to focus on your diet and your exercise plan. Use all three. Do all three of those things, you're going to have the best results. One session is probably not going to be enough. I don't really want to put it on a 3, 4, or 5, but we have these packages and see how your body reacts to it. So really finding that balance of hype and being realistic, showing knowledge. And I touched on this with the safety thing, especially with the upsell services. I've noticed too, it's, if they're going to, spend that kind of money, they're always going to ask you, is this safe? Who's doing this? Where are they doing this? How many clients? Any bad reactions? The safety thing goes a long way towards earning trust. So really quickly, I try to go over all the safety features of the upsell service. I try to, say, look, I've done it with this many clients, not had any issues. Safeties are #1 priority with anything we do. And the opposite of trust, these are things you can do that will kill the upsell really quickly. Not using logic, overhyping too much, not asking questions. Asking questions is great because people love to talk and they love to, say what they're looking for, give their feedback. So if you can ask questions on what are you looking for, what else are you doing to get the results? Those are questions people want to be asked. So think about that. If you're not trying to build a friendship, you don't have to go over the top with this, but you should always want to build friendships with your clients. And you're gonna have a bunch of different personality types. Some are quiet, some are really not quiet and talk a lot, but try to get to know the client and find ways to relate with them. Bad reviews, opposite of trust, not having research. If there's no research, you're gonna have that person saying, where's research? And you're gonna say there's none, makes it more difficult. Having no brand, most of us aren't gonna have a big brand. That's not what I mean. When I say, having a brand to build trust, what I mean is, you're establishing credibility in your community. You're getting your name out there, word of mouth. People are starting to come in and talk about you. They know that your place is safe. You're not having people out there saying, oh, I got hurt there, or the customer service is terrible, and you're keeping your place looking clean and looking respectable. that's enough brand. I'm not talking about having this major brand with multiple locations. I'm just saying establish something that looks credible, looks legitimate. Rushing. Do not want to rush clients. Good way to get them to leave and never come back or quit the membership. They'll be ready on their time, but you can help speed up that process by doing the things I talked about previously. Getting the results you said you would get them, having them love their membership, having tons of value on that, and answering their questions, showing them the upsell services, answering their questions. There is no rush here. When they're ready, you don't talk about safety. Not a good thing. People always want to know, am I going to get hurt? So when they don't ask those questions, you don't need to. Just be really clever about saying, obviously safety is a top priority of ours. This equipment has all these amazing safety features. They are this. Identify and relate. Really important. And this is, let's say it's not a member that's converting. Someone, did their own research, led them to your business. Somebody just happened to hear something about something at your business and they want to come in and ask questions. So they're coming in a little bit blind, but you're there to make sure their questions are answered. And it's, once again, it's, if you get really lucky and right away they're ready to hand you their card and purchase a 5-pack, great. It happens, it does. But more often than not, there might be a nurturing process. You might have to follow up with them. You might have to schedule them a consultation for another day, have them come back and, keep going with the process. But right away, find out what they're looking for. Everything that I always talk about, find out exactly what they're looking for. Are there someone that wants a facial? Is it somebody that wants, more, vitamins? Are they here for an IV drip upsell? What are they there for? Is it, a pain management upsell, Kasan for pain management? What are they looking for? You need to figure out right away. Usually they'll tell you. You don't really need to ask them. Typically you're going to say, oh, I have this. I'm looking for this. My friend saw this. I was so, blown away by my friend's results of this. I'm wondering if I can get the same thing. They just told you, what the friend got, what they're looking for. Make sure you're paying attention and listening. And once you find out, what I typically do is I'll go through my head real quickly and I'll say, okay, which of my prior clients can I relate to what this new client is looking for? And I'll make sure to use their name, maybe even their age, things like that. Obviously, I'm not giving away personal details, but I'll say, oh, Caitlin, came in for the same exact thing. She really wanted something new for her skincare routine. She was unsure about it. I went back, I answered all of her questions. She kind of had these concerns, and you're building trust. You're saying, look, it's not weird to have these concerns. This other client had these exact same concerns. And she decided that she'd give it a try. And after 3 or 4 times, she was thrilled. She's bought 3 packages of this now. Really, you can talk about all these things. So this is my favorite way to do it, whether it's a member or someone brand new off the street, is find someone that was previously here that matches the description of the new client closely and use them as the example in the comparison. Like I said, a client of mine, it's on the PowerPoint, make sure that a client of mine right here was looking for, and she got, or he got. Really important. If you can kind of follow that blueprint right there, you're going to see that your conversion rate is going to go way up. It's the best way. People want to know that other people were doing this. They see a business that's busy, they want to go check it out. They see a restaurant that's busy, they want to go eat there. They see something new and unusual, but they're curious. They want to know who else has tried this. Does it really work? And you go, yeah, it really does. I had, Bob came in. Bob, was trying to do this, and he got this, and, he was really happy. And maybe if you have these great, clients already, maybe you can have them, talk to the client if they're there at the same time. I've done that before. I'm not like I'm giving out the phone number or the email, but, if Bob or Caitlin's in my business, there's trust there, there's a friendship. And I say, oh, Caitlin, before you go, would you mind? Is it okay just talking about your experience, using Kazan? They're actually interested as well, but they're kind of on the fence, or they're new and they just, they want to know what your experience was like, not from an employee or from an owner. And typically 99% of the time clients are super happy to do that. They want to see your business succeed. They want to see you get new business. And also they want someone to do things that they're doing. They liked it. They want other people to, enjoy the same thing. So identify and relate, really, really, really important. Like I said, I am a big hype person. I think that I have kind of, as I've aged and been in this industry a lot longer, gotten a lot better about not trying to be too annoying about my hyping. And I look back and I can see some areas where I kind of cringe. I'm like, oh man, I can't believe I hyped it that much, or that was a little, ridiculous. But there is a place for hype. Look at any ads, any really good ads, they're hyping it. They're not like, come out to Mexico, have an okay time. No, they're like, come out to Mexico and have the time of your life. And you can say time of your life, but last week was amazing. I had a great time. So you do want to hype the upsells. You want to hype everything, but you really want to hype the upsells. But you want to keep it realistic, where you see these Facebook marketers and they go, you didn't know what you were doing. I know what I'm doing. And they every time I see this fine print, it's always the same. It's this, so overhyped. Do you want to be a part of this? And then it goes into the, put your name or type in at the bottom. And they'll say, everybody that does this is, now they're doing, 50,000 per month. And I'm like, all right, 7 years doing this, working with hundreds of owners. None of them have ever done this, but all of a sudden you've never owned a business and you're doing this. I say, that's not realistic. And all my, my sensors are going off of, no good, can't trust this person. This is bad. I don't think I can even work with this person. And there's Facebook marketers that were the opposite. They're still hyping it, but they're very realistic. There's Facebook marketers, even if they I've never owned a business. Jared, really like Jared. He's just trustworthy, honest, great guy. He does all the things I talk about in building his business for this industry. Salim, same thing, like him. So there's people that I think do it really well. And then there's other ones that are overhyping it. And once again, even if they're overhyping it, it's not really their fault. Like I said, I used to overhype things, but pay attention to that and really watch that. And then, take that and apply it to your business or you as an employee, right? Am I overhyping this? Am I not hyping it at all? Really have to be self-aware, because if you're not hyping it, you're probably not going to get people excited. And if you're overhyping it, you're probably not going to earn their trust, because you're going to seem really unrealistic. And that takes practice. I think I was lucky that I was just naturally able to hype things up pretty well, but then I had to practice on not hyping too much. And my sister, would bring me down to earth and say, that's probably a little too much. And then over time, I feel like, and I've gotten a little bit better about not doing too much overhype. And safety, right? Like I said, safety, especially with the upsell services, clients really, really, really care. Obviously they care, but they're usually pretty concerned about, is this going to damage my body? Am I, could I have, my face all red for the next week? And typically they're going to bring it up, but if they don't, you want to make sure you're there to, to answer it for them. And so that's the slides that I have. But now that I'm, that I'm talking about, I also want to bring up, more about if they're not members or they're not currently clients, how do you reach them for upsell services? Website, as you guys know, I think is critically important. You should have, a big section on your website for upsells. Probably another special offer, something that, maybe it's buy a 5-pack, get one free. I love the 5-pack. Huge fan of the 5-pack. I think 5-packs are great because if someone does a 5-pack, even if they have to take a break in between, they can burn through that 5-pack pretty quickly. Whereas a 10-pack, 15-pack, 20-pack just takes them too long. Not saying you shouldn't do this. I just am telling you why I love the 5-pack myself so much. And typically you can charge a lot of money for a 5-pack with most upsell services. 3-pack for an upsell, I'm not totally against it. I just kind of think, why do a 3 when you can do a 5? Make more money and probably get them better results, because there's more of a chance when they're doing more of this upsell, whatever the upsell is. And, single session, I think should be pretty high. Once again, I don't think most owners in our business make enough money on selling single sessions of these upsells. They sell them on the 5-packs, on the expensive packages. So when the single session is higher, the package becomes better value. Just the same way when I do my membership, right? I make sure all my single sessions are pretty high. And I make sure that they were to do all of them together, it'd be ridiculously high. And then they look at my membership and go, wait a second, I can do this, and that all these times during the month for this price when my one visit is this much. They're like, why would I not do the membership even if I wasn't coming in for it? So when it comes to the upsell, if you have someone that's coming in off the street and they've been doing their own research, or they saw it on television, or they saw it like Real Housewives, or Bachelorette, someone was doing it and it got them interested, they started researching it, or they found your website and now they clicked on your offer, they come in and you don't want them, and most clients are going to want to just try it. So what I do is I don't have them pay till the end. So I say, yeah, you could just do one, but just want you to know there's so much value in doing a package. Why don't you try it and then see how you feel after? And whether it was my employee or, or an independent contractor, they're trained correctly and they, customer service is great and they did a good job with the first session. Typically that client will come out going, you know what, there was enough there for me to understand why and how this can work. And I had great experience with the employee that I do want to do the package. Let's do the 5-pack. So that's typically what happened at Glossier Mountain View is, they'd come in, and there was enough there for them to say, yeah, I want to go all the way with this. I can understand why one's not enough. Let's do the 5-pack. Typically though, they're not going to do the 5-pack before doing the first one. So I have them pay towards the end. So once again, the reason why I probably, wouldn't want someone buying a single session off my website. Nothing wrong with it, because hopefully they come in, they like it, and they do a 5-pack. But I love them coming in kind of fresh, and then at the end, they're like, yep, 5-pack. There it is. But let's see. There's one attendee. That's great. I didn't think there'd be anyone on this just because the vacation, there was such a long break between giving notice. But it's nice to have Entre on here. Entre, if you're here, any questions? You always have great questions about what I talked about. You can put it in the Q&A or the chat if you're there, that maybe I missed or I went over too quickly that you think would help out owners. Just let me know. I'm going to give it a couple of seconds. And I know, like I said, I knew a lot of people coming into this were going to be watching this on recording. So when I do these seminars, most important thing to me is value to the owner and value to the employees. Like I said, sometimes I talk fast, sometimes I go over things and miss things because I've been doing this so long. If there's ever a question about anything that I talk about in a seminar, text me, you can call me, you can email me. I really want people to understand the things that I talk about. And whether they're copying exactly what I do, or they take something that I'm doing and they apply it to what they're already doing, or they mesh it, that's fine. But I'm very proud of what I accomplished. And my model doesn't need to be the model that everyone does, but I'm sure there's something there they can take out of it to make their model better or up their conversion rate. So for me, upselling, really was a memberships game. I knew the more members I had, the more upsells I was going to sell. And it was true. It was mathematically, pretty accurate. I knew how many I was going to sell every month just off the math, off of how many members I had. And we did that with a plan. Like I said, we had the photos, we had the before and after, we had it all over the business. We had the equipment, nearby. We did the free consultations. We knew, we had to get people in, really see it in person. We knew to have them pay after they did it. That way we knew most of the time, really, I want to say like 95% of the time, they would choose the 5-pack. They would choose the package option over the single session. So that was really, really important concept. And upselling, is harder to sell than it is to, sell a membership, because it's more expensive. And, you're talking about sometimes it's $1,500 to $2,000 to $3,000 for a package. Some people have that money, some don't, or it's a big step for them. So, there's a nurturing process typically. And the last thing you want is someone that buys an expensive thing and they're not happy. They feel like you misled them. And so if you don't do those things, if you don't hype unrealistically, not everyone's always going to be happy with the results, even if you did what you said that you were going to do, and they did get results. Sometimes people, figure they're going to get too much or want too much. That's just part of life. But if you did it the correct way, you were honest, used logic, used previous clients, and you didn't, promise too much, you don't ever need to feel bad if you sold it the right way, in my opinion, which is, the honest way. But, you know, thanks everybody for watching this recording. If it fell a little off, I'm sorry. I just back from a week-long vacation. But once again, if there's anything about upselling, anything that I talked about in the seminar, feel free to reach out to me and we'll talk about it. But thank you guys.